Welcome back to High Stakes, where we help you elevate your betting strategy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our daily content. Looking for exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join us on Patreon. Links are available in the comments section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. Oh, what a delightful clash we have here. Two teams with the same record because, 14-2 is totally common, battling it out for the NFC's top seed and the NFC North title. The Minnesota Vikings, somehow still riding high on their 9-game win streak, face the Detroit Lions, who are basking in their glory after a run to the NFC Championship last season. Such humble beginnings. The Vikings, led by Sam Darnold, yes, that's Sam Darnold, have managed to make it this far with their stellar play against, well, let's just say mediocre competition. Sure, they won their last 3 games, but can we really give them credit when they barely beat the Packers? 27-25? If we're being honest, they might be just a tiny bit overrated. But hey, that's just my humble opinion. On the other side, we have the Detroit Lions who, bless their hearts, are somehow still the underdogs despite their monster season. Jared Goff, everyone's favorite underappreciated QB, is throwing bombs like he's on a mission, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is out there catching passes like they're going out of style. Sure, they've had a few injuries to deal with, but hey, no biggie. They're still crushing it. Look, Minnesota's defense is solid, but it's hard to take them seriously when their win streak has been padded with victories against teams that are, let's say, not exactly postseason material. Enter Detroit, the best third-down unit in the league, with a defense that knows how to get the job done. I can practically see Jared Goff's name shining in lights as he leads the Lions to victory in front of their adoring home crowd. As for the total points, oh, this one's going over. Obviously, with both offenses firing on all cylinders and Minnesota's defense only slightly less effective than a wet napkin. A score of 30-27 seems almost too conservative. Prediction: Detroit Lions -3, because, why not? And over 55.5, duh, the offenses are unstoppable. Based on the delightful chaos of this matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions, here are the best game prop picks. Jared Goff, over passing yards. Jared Goff has been quietly one of the most efficient quarterbacks this season, and he's leading an offense that's averaging over 33 points per game. Minnesota's defense has been decent, but it's faced mostly bottom-tier offenses in its recent games. Goff, with his 4,398 yards on the season, is a much more seasoned QB than the ones Minnesota's defense has handled recently. He's got the weapons to tear apart this secondary, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's racked up 1,186 yards this season, and Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield as well. The Vikings will likely try to play aggressive defense, which could open up deep shots for Goff, especially against a secondary that has its holes. Goff will likely surpass the passing yards total as the game progresses, pushing Detroit to score in a shootout. Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown is Jared Goff's go-to guy in the red zone, and in a game where Detroit is expected to put up a lot of points, St. Brown is likely going to find his way into the end zone. He's been an absolute beast, tallying 1,186 yards and 12 touchdowns this season. And in a game with high expectations, he's the prime candidate to score. Minnesota's defense will have a tough time keeping up with him, especially when he's often lined up in the slot or on the outside against less capable defenders. If Goff is able to march the Lions down the field, St. Brown will almost certainly finish the drive with a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, over receiving yards. There's no way around it. Justin Jefferson is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and he's shown that all season long with 1,479 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's been the Vikings' focal point on offense, and despite some of their recent struggles against elite defenses, Jefferson has been able to consistently produce. Detroit's defense has been decent, but it's vulnerable, especially to top-tier receivers like Jefferson. With the Vikings likely needing to keep pace with the high-scoring Lions, expect Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold, if he plays, to look for Jefferson often, which will likely push him past his receiving yards total. Lions to score 30-plus points. Detroit's offense is downright explosive, with Jared Goff leading the charge and one of the best receiving core in the league, including Amon-Ra St. Brown and the electric Jahmyr Gibbs. Detroit is one of the toughest offenses to slow down. The Vikings, while solid, have struggled to stop top offenses this season. Even with their defensive efforts, they have allowed points against lower-tier teams, so facing the Lions could result in them giving up 30 or more points. With Detroit averaging over 33 points per game, the expectation here is for them to reach the 30-point mark with relative ease in this high-stakes matchup. Vikings under 24.5 points. The Vikings offense has had its moments this season, but it's been far from consistent. Sure, they're averaging 26.4 points per game, but they've struggled to put up big numbers against tougher defenses, like Detroit's. The Lions have one of the best third down defenses in the league and have been excellent at forcing opponents into long drives and getting stops when they matter most. Additionally, with Sam Darnold at quarterback, assuming he plays, or even Kirk Cousins being pressured in a tough environment, it will be difficult for the Vikings to keep up with Detroit's offensive firepower. As a result, it's reasonable to expect the Vikings to fall short of 25 points, especially if the Lions take an early lead and force Minnesota to play catch-up. Total sacks over 3.5. While the Lions' offense has been an absolute powerhouse this season, putting up points in bunches, they've had their struggles in protecting Jared Goff. Goff has been sacked 37 times so far this season, and while that number isn't catastrophic, it's enough to raise concerns against a Vikings defense that's shown they can generate pressure. Detroit's offensive line, despite being solid overall, has had lapses, especially when facing aggressive pass rushers. The Vikings have defenders like Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith who are capable of getting to the quarterback, and with Goff having to drop back often to move the chains, the pressure could mount. Expect the Lions' offensive line to be tested, and with the speed of Minnesota's pass rushers, Goff might find himself on the ground a few times. On the flip side, the Vikings have their own offensive line issues. While Minnesota's offense has been somewhat efficient, it's clear that their offensive line isn't a strength. Enter Sam Darnold, who, though he's had moments of revival, has a history of being prone to mistakes when under pressure. The Lions' defense, while not as dominant as the top-tier units, has been very effective at getting after the quarterback, especially in recent weeks. The Lions have some solid pass rushers, like Aiden Hutchinson, who will look to exploit Minnesota's pass protection. Darnold has already been sacked multiple times this season, and with a banged-up offensive line, there's a very real chance he'll face pressure from the Lions' front seven. This game has all the makings of a high-tempo, high-scoring affair. Both teams will likely rely on their passing games to move the ball, which means there will be plenty of opportunities for pass rushers to get after the quarterback. As both teams are likely to be airing the ball out, this creates more passing situations, and with quarterbacks having to hold the ball longer to allow their deep routes to develop, the pressure will be on. When you have a game with fast-paced offenses and an emphasis on passing, you naturally create more passing downs where the defense can take shots at the quarterback. The more opportunities to pass, the more chances there are for sacks. Given the vulnerabilities of both offensive lines and the high-tempo nature of this game, it's very likely that both defenses will get to the quarterback multiple times. Minnesota's defense isn't the best in the league, but with a backup quarterback in Sam Darnold, the pressure will be on to get him out of rhythm, and the Lions have the pass rush to do so. Likewise, Jared Goff isn't immune to sacks, especially with the Vikings' pass rushers lurking. It wouldn't be surprising to see this game hit 4 sacks, if not more, as both offenses are expected to pass often and face significant pressure. The total of over 3.5 sacks is well within reach for this game. In conclusion, with both teams relying heavily on their passing attacks, and the defensive schemes primed to exploit offensive line weaknesses, this prop bet feels like a solid play. Expect the number of sacks to exceed 3.5 with both teams needing to apply pressure to keep the other's offense in check. And that's a wrap on today's video, folks. I'm sure you're absolutely on the edge of your seat, eagerly awaiting the next thrilling installment of this channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because clearly you don't want to miss any of our daily videos. I mean, who could live without them? And while you're at it, smash that notification bell, so you can be the first to know when we drop more gems like this. Oh, and if you're looking for some premium picks, because, let's be honest, who isn't? Join our Patreon. It's where the real magic happens. Premium picks, insider info, and possibly even some mildly entertaining banter. So, hit that link, and we'll see you on the inside. Until next time, enjoy the game, make those bets, and remember, you're welcome.